Hey everybody, welcome to Metal as Medicine podcast. We're your hosts Eric and Terrence.
Party on.
All right, here we are for the week ending of February 26th to March 1st, and we're going to talk about some new music, some extreme music, because everybody loves extreme music.
Does it have to be extreme?
No, it doesn't. It can be extreme in any sense,
Oh, sweet.
and metal in any sense. So, like, if it's so respectful that you're like, respect is metal, then it could be metal.
It's so extreme that it's so respectful that
Yeah.
it's extreme.
Yeah, because being respectful is extreme. No, wait, is metal.
Sure. I was trying to get into that mind frame, but I'm sorry, you lost me.
That's okay. That happens often.
Okay, what are we?
All right. Well, why don't
What's
we?
exciting?
Yeah, why don't we start off with new releases?
Oh man,
You want to talk about the one that you were just playing,
Inter Arma.
Inter Arma?
Just one track so far. Citadel. It is amazing.
How amazing!
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's definitely a 10 out of 10.
Wow, really?
10 out of 10 for I've not heard of this band before, and they've been around for a while. Very difficult to describe because they're a cross genre type band where they'll have really quiet, slow acoustic soundscapes and then go into black metal or death metal parts. But I feel that this new song, this new track that was released just this past Friday is excellent.
Yeah, that sounded really good. Actually, that track we were listening to.
Yeah, it didn't even get to the later part. So it starts off pretty heavy and then goes into it has a stylistic change halfway through, and I believe
I've
it
really
totally
been
rules.
digging that slower Black Death, more rhythm, more melody, or
Drone.
yeah, more droning along. And I love it, like listening to the double bass kick, and it goes by at one tempo, and then all of a sudden they just kick it up a little bit, brrr, but the rhythm still drones along like that. I
Yeah,
really
totally.
dig that. The new Rotting Christ sounds like that as well. A few of the songs.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that album. I don't know what the actual release date for the Rotting Christ album is, but everything.
The
Not
new one, it's
everything.
already out.
Sweet. I will have to dive right into it then. But they've been slowly releasing tracks on Spotify, and every single time it pops up for me, I've been, playing those songs and getting my groove on.
There it is, right there. It came out a couple of
Ooh,
weeks ago.
man, I've been
The
behind the times.
Heretics.
I'm behind the times.
I really like this track, Heaven and the Hell and Fire. That's one of those ones that kind of drones along. Very,
Awesome.
very cool. Very cool.
I believe it's either the second track or the sixth track. Though I don't know. I can't pronounce them because they're in different languages. But they were. Let's see what Spotify says.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what language that is.
The
The two that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, well, the first. I don't know if it's Greek because they are a Greek band.
Mm-hmm. I would assume that they are then.
But it could be Russian even, or some kind of variation. Saint Vitus released a track. Can you open that up and see if is Glenn Benton in Saint Vitus still?
Doesn't look like it. No. His active band is Deicide.
He's in one. He was in. He did guest vocals at least for. Mr. Benton was definitely guest vocals, at least temporary vocals for at least one band.
I love the lineup for this album. Is Thermos Tolls on the drums, and does that say Sakis Tolls on everything else? Vocals, guitars, bass, keyboards, percussion, songwriting, and lyrics. That's pretty awesome.
It's kind of like a Trent Reznor type thing. If the dude's just is
Kind
the guy
of.
that's writing everything. Oh,
Yeah.
Vital Remains. I was totally wrong.
Oh, Vital Remains. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I saw that on the list there.
Terrible
So, oh yeah, and they have vocal. They got choirs on this album as well. Lots of percussions, female vocals. Like it's got a big range to it. Lots of lead guitar melodies.
Mm-hmm.
Very very cool. Got to check that out. Let's see what else we got. The new Children of Bodom single came out.
Yes,
Platitudes and Barren Words. What do you think?
I listened a few times, and what I feel it is a solid effort. My excitement level for the album is probably about a 7. It didn't get me super fired up, and I'm not exactly sure why. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was just the wrong track choice. I mean, a 7's a still good number. Like that's
Oh
not,
yeah,
it's not beat around the bush. Like a 7's a solid.
yeah. I've listened to some of the samples on Twitter, and the whole like all the samples sound really good. This song here, it I enjoyed it, but yeah, I'd say 7 out of 10 for excitement levels. Pretty good right now. I preferred the last single, "This Road," over this one. A
Right.
little bit faster paced. Some nice solos in it. Where this one here didn't even have a guitar solo; it just had keyboard solo and then like the melodic interlude by Alexi,
Gotcha. Okay.
which is a little bit disappointing considering their past history with solos and shredding.
Oh man, you're such an elitist.
I know. Fuck. I gotta smarten
No guitar solos. Sorry, it's not metal.
up. Yeah, exactly. I just like a good shred. That's all.
What is this keyboard shred by himself? Where's the buddy cop thing?
Where are those dueling
Instruments.
instruments there? Battle Beast has a new single out called Eden. They're like a heavy metal from Finland, female vocalist, lots of keyboards and melody.
Okay. I think I
Their new album is coming
think I know what
out
you're talking about now.
on March 22nd, I believe the new album is coming out.
Yeah. Battle Beast Eden. Okay, I did hear this, and I think I was a little impressed, actually.
Yeah, I like them. I think they're a lot of fun to listen to. I'm usually not into more of the heavy metal bands and like the traditional heavy metal,
Right.
but I really enjoy these guys, and I'm looking forward to No More Hollywood Endings. It's got a badass cover too.
Nice. Well, yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I thought this was actually a pretty interesting track. I think I did actually look at my playlist at one point, like, who's this? So if it catches my attention, if I'm just listening to it on random or whatever. So, yeah, I wait for the album to actually fully drop and check out the rest of it.
Yeah, for sure. And In Flames released their new album, I the Mask.
Oh, man, I was trying to think of something really witty and funny to say to that, but I can't. I guess my joke was a dud, just like their music has been for the last 10 years.
Quite possibly, or like if you go into
Dud.
public with everybody knowing you're an In Flames fan, you should be wearing a mask.
Oh,
Ooh, no, just
I
kidding.
don't know.
I still enjoy their older stuff, not so much their newer stuff. But I do enjoy this album better than the last 3 that came out, or 4 even. Holy shit, how many more albums do they have since Come Clarity? Come Clarity is about the last one that I really enjoyed.
And that was already 13 years ago.
Yeah, Sense of Purpose, Sounds of a Playground Fading, Siren Charms, and Battles, and then I the Mask.
Wow, I can tell you, I have not listened to any of those albums.
I'm
from
not
start to
familiar with
finish.
them.
Probably more than likely a song or two, just through other people. I personally have not sought out to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know. We keep touching on his vocal style and how it's changed into that weird kind of whiny thing, and it is enough for me to not listen to it.
Yeah.
Even though the most recent song that came out did sound actually pretty cool with the guitar playing and stuff. Call My Name.
Yeah, that is actually one of my favorite songs off this
But-
album.
But I'm still on the fence regarding them.
I've listened to it probably half a dozen times, and I really like a number of the songs, like the title track, "I the Mask," "Call My Name," and then one called "Deep Inside," which actually I think might even have one of the best melodies, guitar riffs,
Nice.
probably
Okay.
that they've done since "Come Clarity" or or even earlier. I think maybe even since Vanishing Light, the song off Come Clarity. It's a pretty good song. But then again, all the ones in between, I'm not a big fan of. This one I got to talk about called This Is Our House.
Yep.
It's like this rock anthem that does not sound like anything In Flames would ever do.
Then what the heck are they doing?
I don't know. It's a very, very interesting song. But the funny thing is that it's so damn catchy that I can't stop listening to it.
Oh, man. Well, yeah. So how do you fault them for that? Because it's a black sheep kind of thing on the album, or do you fault them for running something that's so catchy you can't get it unstuck from your brain?
Well, that's the thing too, is that when I listen to the whole album, it is literally the standout track that goes, wow, this is totally different than the rest of the album. Like, it is through and through melodic death metal, of course, with Anders singing mixed with his growls, but then it's got this rock anthem in there that is like pretty much repeating the same verse and chorus throughout the whole song.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
but
we'll have to come back to it next podcast, and I will give you my actual thoughts and feelings on the album in its entirety rather than just that one song.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's going to break a almost a decade-long streak here of not listening to their stuff.
You sure you don't want to hold on to that streak?
Nah, it's not really that important for me to hold on to.
You're going to cry yourself to sleep tonight. Oh no, the streak is broken.
Yeah. I'm going to, definitely cry myself to sleep. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey. Have you heard of Mark Martin?
Yes, I have.
Have you checked out his new album?
I have listened to it.
Well,
I don't know if I'm a fan of it.
What do you mean? It's Lamb of God.
I love the music. Like, the music's great, but I don't know. I don't know if I enjoy much of the vocals that I've heard, because it's got each song is a guest vocalist, right?
Yes. And
the first one being Chester from the late Chester from Linkin Park, right?
Stinkin' Park.
That's
yes,
right.
That's right.
Yeah. And I like that song. And I've only listened to the album twice, I believe, or once and a half maybe. I don't have much of an opinion beyond that, though, so I do have to listen to it a little bit more. What do you think?
I thought it was good. I have a kind of soft spot for guitar player led albums with guest vocalists. Slash has done it a long time ago. Slash's Snake Pit or something. The first album, they had guest vocalists, Ozzy Osbourne and the guy from The Cult and etc. And Miles Kennedy was the first time they collabed together, and then ended up singing for him until now. But also Tony Iommi did that in the mid 90s with his solo album Iommi, which had also a different singer per track. So this kind of scenario has happened a few times in the last 20 years, and I just kind of like hearing different vocalists take on that particular type of music. Dave Grohl even did it with his Probot side project.
Probot, yeah.
So I think I'm a lot more forgiving, maybe, in terms of accepting the dynamic or the variance in the different vocal styles.
Because I had listened to a few of the singles that as they had been released.
Yeah.
And as much as I enjoyed them, nothing really stood out to me. But I'm definitely going to go back and listen to this album again. We can touch on it again.
For sure. I think if you're a Lamb of God fan for the guitar playing style, like, it's straight up Lamb of God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it definitely sounds like them. Or him, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like his influence is very prominent into their songwriting for sure. And if you're looking for something super different, then you're not really going to get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'll totally throw it on in the background and rock out to it while I'm swinging a hammer or digging the ditches.
Digging a ditch. All right. I think do we have anything else for new releases this week?
Yeah. What about that huge track that was dropped by Devin Townsend?
Genesis.
Oh
I
man,
can't get enough of that one. Holy
I
shit.
listened to it probably 6 or 7 times that day,
Did you?
easily.
Probably a half a dozen times for me. Yeah, in a row. In a row. Yeah.
And especially when I found out that video, because
Oh, yeah.
you mentioned that the video was coming out soon, and of course I was like, I had to look for it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And it is actually funny how much more the visuals help the song.
Oh, it enhances it
It's
big time.
pretty. I mean, if for those who haven't seen it, it's pretty hilarious or annoying depending on which way you want to look at it. It's just Devin sitting at a desk listening to Genesis, but there's a green screen of like different stuff going on in the
Different
background.
visuals and things happening.
Yeah, and the visuals happen to be quite literal images of what's happening in the song, or at least I felt. Maybe they're uh, his literal images, what he kind of thinks, because he's talked a lot about seeing shapes or not shapes, colors
In his music.
in his music.
Yeah.
When he writes certain songs, he thinks of colors, and he's talked about this one being full spectrum. It's the first album he's ever written musically that has everything. So, and he also went into a little bit of detail on why Genesis was the song that they chose, because he felt it encompassed the kind of give you a good idea of what the rest of the album is going to sound like. And quite honestly, you know, when you watch a cooking show and it's been an amateur cooking show, and you finally get to the point where the judges are like, yes, you are finally here. You know, this is what we've been waiting for this whole time. It kind of seems like that for me for Devin Townsend. It's
You
like,
mean
this is finally
throughout his whole career, you mean?
throughout his whole career. Like, this, to me, this is exactly what he should have been recording years ago. Because when I listen to him, it's like playlists.
Yeah.
Put on a playlist, and I go through random, and I like going through all the different albums and songs that he's written, and then, like, finally we're getting it where it's all clumped together into a single unit, and he's just allowing his inner crazy to really shine.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That like when you listen back to previous albums and the progressionness and the creativity and what he's been doing, really feels like he's been building up to something like Empath, and that he might have been attempting to do something like that all along without realizing it, and then now finally he has those skills to produce something like that. And if you
Yeah.
follow him on Twitter, he's been talking about how the song might not make a lot of sense right now. The video complements it and gives it a little bit more clarity about the song, but it's not until the album comes out that you'll really understand the music that is happening within those 6 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Which when I first listened to it, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
it's all over the place. There's shit happening everywhere, all sorts of sounds, everything from like more natural soundscapes to like 8-bit digital sounds and all sorts of things happening in there.
Yeah, there's a cool little 1 or 2 second long 8-bit little interlude. There's cats meowing.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and 2 cow moos. I've only picked out 2 cow moos, so let's see if I can pick out any more of them in that song. But yeah, and it starts off with at least the video has an extra long intro. Really, yeah, it's like beside a beach, waves come crashing in. It's kind of like Jamaican steel drum, like really light, and then it just starts in the song. And of course, they return to that part way through the song itself, and I'm really pumped for it.
Oh,
It's really awesome that he's finally. I think he's just let himself go. He's
no restraints, no boundaries.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird, and I mean, he's a very open person, and when he discusses how he goes through this entire process, and it does seem kind of weird that he's held himself back before, where he fixates on a particular thought and like this is how it needs to be. Anyway, I'm glad he's completely done with all of that, and I think part of what has helped him is he's hired a previous music director for Frank Zappa or music coordinator. So I think that's helped a lot. I mean, obviously Frank Zappa is a major weirdo for music. So to me, Devin Townsend is the new Frank Zappa for sure. Especially if this is the direction he's going.
I'm really excited for the new album. Absolutely. I'm excited for every album that he puts out, but this time I can say that I'm probably the most excited to listen to his new
I've
stuff.
listened to Transcendence a few times in recent last couple of weeks, and it just doesn't have the same. Like, I'm really excited for Empath.
Yeah, Transcendence was kind of like almost like an advanced or a part two to Accelerated Evolution, maybe. Like, I kind of feel like the sound is still similar to that big stadium sound, but the songs I don't really feel as though it was a progression from through his whole discography. It was kind of a strange album to me. I did enjoy it though.
Yeah, it's a good album. I think they could have done fine with 3 songs,
like an EP or something.
Because once you've seen it for the entire disc, and you know there's a 2 CD version of it. When he could have easily gotten away with an EP. My personal thoughts, anyways. Especially now, I have this, the Genesis in reference.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he could have easily gone away with 3 songs of that, and then give me 3 songs of Casualties of Cool, and give me 3 songs of something else, and I would have been a little bit more into it. But yeah, I can't wait, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's
totally.
do this, right?
Yeah. Oh, we're going to do a show on that one for sure. All right. Shall we move on to some news?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, how about Gene Hoglan?
Well, that's tangentially related. Holy crap.
Yeah, right? Totally. He says that Testament is working on a new album. He says that there's about 6 songs together, and Alex Skolnick has got some killer ideas. Everything seems to be coming together, and it won't sound like a direct follow-up to Brotherhood of the Snake.
Awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Testament's I've definitely had a soft spot for that band for a very long time. Their 90s stuff I just love. I absolutely love it. So, absolutely looking forward for sure.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of Brotherhood of the Snake. I was just listening to it last week or so.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy it, but if it's going to go into a different direction, I'm okay with that too.
Well, I think it's going to be kind of limited. Testament has always sounded like Testament.
That is very true.
So, within that scope, I'm sure it's going to sound like the band. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't deviate too far.
Oh yeah, exactly. We'll move on to Slipknot. Corey Taylor is back in the studio recording vocals for the next Slipknot album, which actually surprised me because I thought it was completely done. When the single All Out Life came out, I thought that was already promoting the release of the new album.
Totally. Yeah. And yeah, I think who else did that many years ago where they just released a song? Oh yeah, Machine Head. Is there anyone out there? They just dropped a single. There wasn't an album. And then they went ahead and recorded an album.
And was that single on the album that came out? Do you remember?
They may have retroactively put it on.
Oh,
so
weird.
I'm wondering if Slipknot was just kind of testing the waters to see, or just not testing the waters, maybe to just refresh people's mind and like,
hey, don't forget about us.
Don't forget about us. There's stuff coming out soon.
Well, they got me back. Like I'm pretty excited for the new album.
It sounded pretty raw.
They did.
The production on this track, it harkens definitely second album. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got vibes.
A little bit of
album.
like first and second album, so it's like Ross Robinson style darkness or lo-fi. It's kind of dirtiness.
It was very raw, very dirty, lots of blast beats.
So we'll see what the rest of it is.
Like,
I think it's cool that this particular song will not actually be on the rest of the album.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, very cool. Absolutely.
So
he also said that the album or the standalone single isn't nearly as dark and vicious as the rest of the album. That sounds very cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's very cool.
That is. They also announced a North American tour with Volbeat, Gojira, and Behemoth as supporters.
Excellent. I'm hoping that comes to Canada because I have not yet had a chance to see Gojira.
Yeah, me neither.
And seeing them with Slipknot would be pretty cool. And Behemoth is, I've heard they're good things about them live too.
They're badass live. I saw them in Penticton with
Slayer.
Slayer, yes, that's right. Yeah, and they fucking put on a good show. Absolutely. All right, so Kalma, the Finnish melodic death metalers, they had a poll earlier this year asking fans which country they should tour, and naturally America won. So they are now doing a tour of America, which only has 2 Eastern Canadian dates.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Not Vancouver, which is actually funny because 3 years ago they played a show here in Kelowna at Flashbacks.
Holy heck.
Yeah.
How did I miss that one?
I don't know. I was there with, who was playing? Vespero, what's it called? Vesperia?
Okay.
I believe is a band out of Vancouver or somewhere.
Right.
And they played, they opened for Kalma. That was one of the last shows at Flashbacks before it closed. They had
Intense.
Yeah, they had a show there for like the last night. They had a show with a band playing, but before that, Kalma was the last act to play there.
Yeah, awesome. I don't know why I missed that. I must not have been here or something. I
have
don't know.
No idea.
Man.
No idea, but damn, man.
To see them in a super tiny, intimate venue would have been awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Let's move on to the website, the Finnish website Metalstorm. They released their 2018 awards. You can check it out by going to their website, metalstorm.net, but we'll just talk quickly about some of the notable winners here. For the best black metal album was Immortal's Northern Chaos Gods, which is, to me, it's quite funny because I enjoy the album. I mean, it's straight up black metal like Immortal always has been, singing about cold mountains and blizzards and shit like that. But the funny thing is that this is the first album without Abath, the original co-creator of the band.
Yeah, because he went off to do his own thing.
Yeah, he's got his solo band, Abath, now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's kind of neat that after he leaves the band, they release an album that wins Black Metal Album of the Year.
And how was that album production-wise? Did they kind of step it up in...
I'd say it's not much different than what you'd expect from Immortal.
Right.
Like maybe along the lines of Sons of the Northern Darkness, like that. Maybe a little bit more crisp than they've done previously, but you can go back and listen to any of their previous albums, and they're pretty muddied and, you know, lo-fi, which is normal for black metal. For best extreme progressive is Rivers of Nile, Where Owls Know My Name. This is a very cool album.
Nihil?
Have you heard these guys?
Nihilism?
Yeah, Nihilism.
Rivers of Nile. I have not. No, definitely not. I'm just
here. Let's bring them up. Quickly.
Pulling the Rolodex in my brain to see if I.
They play like technical death metal, like progressive.
Yeah.
They're from Pennsylvania.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Where Owls Know My Name. This album is really cool because it has tons of jazz interludes on it.
Oh,
saxophone,
man, okay,
that jazzy keyboard sound. Very, very cool. I was listening to it earlier today, and it's fucking awesome. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm definitely have to check that out because that definitely tweaks a bone in me when they're all over the place and just really messing with typical conventions and different styles.
Oh, totally. And it is progressive technical death metal, but the interludes are so cool that you just can't stop listening to it. I mean, the Metal Archives has it at 62% on 11 reviews. Of course, they're a little bit more elitist than other websites, but don't let that send you in the other direction.
No, definitely not.
Let's go back and check out. Best heavy melodic album goes to Amorphous Queen of Time. That's a fucking awesome album. Like, 100%.
Missed it.
I recommend anybody to check that out. Very, very melodic death metal mixed with, like, melodic rock and heavy metal. It's almost, to me, this is like going back to talking about Devin Townsend. I always feel like with every album of Amorphous, but especially this one, what they were doing on Tales of a Thousand Lakes back in the early 90s, I feel like this is the rendition of what they were trying to accomplish. They didn't have the production level, they didn't have the skill or the talent, but what they were trying to create is this. Yeah, it is so good.
Sweet. Okay.
For best melodic death metal goes to Omnium Gatherum's The Burning Cold. If you listen to that album, you sure as hell know why it wins that.
Nope, missed it.
Oh no!
Missed it.
Another awesome Finnish melodic death metal band.
I was doing other things, okay?
Okay.
I was having a good time elsewhere, doing other
Having
things.
a good time not listening to melodic death metal.
That is correct.
I highly recommend fans of melodic death metal to check that out. And then the winner for best thrash metal album was Soulfly's Ritual.
I heard only a little bit of that.
Have you?
Yeah, just a few songs. I'm surprised they consider it thrash metal because it teeters that, I don't know, kind of black metal at times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just a few songs. I was more heavily into, like, I think the Fu Manchu album was like my number one 2018 album last year. So I was more into the stoner rock or stoner metal stuff.
I listened to it. It's all right. I still preferred like the latest Testament album or even Megadeth or whatever. Soulfly, I don't know. I like their earlier albums, like the first three when there was, I mean, yeah, it was more like new metal. But that's all right.
Well, the line is becoming pretty blurred between them and Cavalier Conspiracy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's even with Mark Russo being in both bands, the guitar player, it just even more becomes pretty muddy on. It's hard to keep track of which band is actually which.
Well,
Because you play them back to back or side beside each other, and there's no way of telling the two apart.
when we come right down to it, I actually prefer Nail Bomb over all of them.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You're such an elitist.
Okay. Oh yeah, here's one. This happened today, actually. Keith Flint, the singer for Prodigy, passed away.
What?
Today, at the age of 49, he was found unresponsive at his home in Essex, England.
I'm fact-checking this.
Okay, go for it. I got it right here, actually.
Oh, what? He's
Here
dead.
it is on Blabbermouth.
Well, you can't believe what you read on the internet, bro.
Yeah, I know, but except that you're looking it up on the internet.
I got it. I had a fact check. Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah,
That was a definitely.
he's one of the pioneers of the whole underground techno scene there, coming out of the UK.
He actually had a cool little punk project too, just called Flint. But it was cool because it was just a straight up punk band. I liked his little influences into the Prodigy. The group itself is the other Liam, I believe his name. He's the guy who controls basically the band's sound. But Keith's voice is very influential, and he's on some of their biggest tracks. So that
Sweet.
really sucks.
All right, and joining us now is local Kelowna death metal band Death Machine. They have one song currently on Bandcamp, as well as a brand new T-shirt that they have just released in the last few days.
That's neat.
Yeah, isn't that neat? All right, guys.
I like music. Music's
what?
fun. Music, Death Machine.
Yeah, music's
Rock and
okay,
roll.
right? Yeah, rock and roll.
Rock
They
and roll,
play
boys.
soft rock, jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bluegrass band from Detroit.
there you go. Right. All right, welcome to the
nice.
show, guys. If you want to go around and introduce yourselves.
And what do you have to tell me what instrument you play too? Because
Oh, because Terrence is like a
I'm the
virgin
new.
with
Yeah,
this.
I'm the fly on the wall. I don't know.
I just told him to come over.
yeah.
I said we had a bunch of hot chicks coming over.
That's the only person
man.
that showed up. All right, well, I'm Spencer. I play bass and I sing lead vocals for Death Machine.
I'm Taylor. I play the drums.
Yeah, I'm Dylan. I play guitar, lead and rhythm. Me and Chandler kind of switch off sometimes.
And I'm Chandler. You got the description. You can also play guitar.
Neat.
Lots of songwriting. Chandler does.
Yeah, main songwriter would be Chandler for sure.
Okay, cool.
Just music, lyrics as well.
I pass the lyrics off to Spencer
Yeah.
because I want to focus more on the music side of things, and he's getting pretty kick-ass at writing lyrics.
Nice.
Most of my stuff is what you see on the back of that shirt there.
Yeah.
He's got more insightful
the
stuff.
offensive stuff, the good stuff.
I wanted to write a song that would never be allowed anywhere.
But that's the beauty with metal, though, is you can write about anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Most of the time, people don't even understand what you're saying anyways, so...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why you can make funny songs too. Like, for instance, the Black Dahlia Murder has a song about smoking weed, but you would never guess that song is about that because it's death metal. So
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Obituary, you guys into Obituary at all?
Absolutely.
So their first few albums, they're one of the forerunners for the American death metal scene right out of Florida. And their first few albums didn't include lyrics in the songbooks because there were no lyrics. So with the stuff that John Tardy's making with his voice, they're just sounds. They're just straight up sounds. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Not all of it. It wasn't 100% just sound based, but yeah, there's a good chunk of it that is. I can't fit in a word a year, so it's just.
It's gonna be a random story. Exactly. Yeah.
That's what a lot of the bands did, though, when metal was first starting, was they just improv'd a lot of the lyrics. Because that wasn't the focus. Focus was on the music, right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. And like a click track was nowhere to be seen.
yeah. Totally. So, you guys have a demo or anything out right now?
Well, we have one song that we've released on a Bandcamp, which is kind of like a single. But it's not going to feature on our EP that we're going to release later this year.
Why?
It's already released.
It's already released. It also features Chandler on the vocals. When the band started out, Chandler was the vocalist, but then we passed it on to Spencer last year.
I
So.
like
that
to
was-
fade into the background and not be seen.
Yeah.
I like to
Nice.
be heard and not seen.
And so now, after we record this EP that we're doing, I don't know, the music that we've written, it's, you know, like bands, you'll get unhappy with what you've previously done after you do more stuff. So that's definitely a part of it. But at the same time, you want to be able to share that stuff with everyone too. So it's out there now. People have something to listen to, and now we get to work on new stuff. So that's the plan from now on.
Are you guys self-producing, self-recording?
Yeah. We're going to be recording the drums with... we're still doing it with
Drum
Tyrone?
machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, God.
Taylor was like, yes.
I'd rather put my own drums in the recording.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
wouldn't want to be replaced, you know?
It's like that one episode of Metalocalypse where Pickles gets replaced by a drum machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, we... what was I even saying?
We're currently working with Tyrone Dombowski. He is the guitar player for the band Displaced. They're another local death metal band.
Cool.
And he has lots of gear, and he often does sound at Munen's Post for a lot of the metal shows that happen. So he's got like the engineering kind of setting up.
He's
stuff
got all the,
down.
he's got the nice mics and everything.
And so
to record drums.
he's gonna help us record our EP.
And then we're gonna record drums with him, and then we're gonna record guitars at my place and vocals at my place because I have the gear for that. And then we're sending it off to a buddy of mine named Zach, who mixed our single. Silent
Waterloo?
Death. No, his name is Zach Gill,
Zach Hill?
and he's the one who mixed that single we have on Bandcamp, and it sounds pretty good. And he's gotten better since then, so we're sending all the stems to him to get mixed. And just to help him out with his portfolio and help us out, get a good mix down. And hopefully we can get that done pretty soon.
We're hoping to have CDs in hand for the summertime.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is the plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully for Armstrong.
Yeah, I was
definitely,
just going to say,
yeah,
for the
for
Armstrong
Armstrong.
Metal Fest.
Yeah,
It's
and then a
definitely-
whole another round of merch. We just finally got our first shirts online and got all that happening, so that's exciting.
Mhm.
But there's only more to come because we only have the one design right now. So
Yeah, I saw that. I got a notification when you posted it on Bandcamp, and I was right away like, I fucking need that shirt.
that's awesome.
You're like one of the first guys to be wearing it too. We haven't we played the one show in Vancouver, and we probably sold like a good 6, maybe
5 or
5.
6.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
You
Wow.
guys are money
yeah,
makers.
he's still like
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Lots more to be sold, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's something more gratifying than getting off stage and selling
100%.
a couple shirts or something.
Yeah, well, it
It's
was a
just-
nice feeling for sure.
Yeah.
One of the bands actually bought our shirts, and he was playing it when he was on stage, and we were just like,
Nice.
fuck yeah.
Didn't even hear us play
That's
yet. He
sweet.
just loved the design and just wanted to
Yeah.
try putting our merch in.
Yeah, that was super cool.
And I feel like I should mention that our EP and what our new music is going to be is kind of drastically different.
Drastically within a spectrum.
Well,
Or-
we're going from like this kind of old school death metal style that we have, and we're moving towards more of the technical side of things.
Okay.
Awesome.
But it's still, in my opinion, like an old school tech death in a way.
We draw elements from lots of things,
Yeah.
but like one of the main things we were like growing listening when we were listening to death metal was Necrophagist,
Yeah,
Obscura,
yeah, stuff like
Faster, like
that. More complicated.
when it came
stuff.
out, that album Epitaph was like, it started a crazy technical death metal wave. Like, and now there's so many technical death metal bands out there in Canada alone. There's a ton, and
It was kind of my complaint too for a little while there, where everyone who was in any kind of metal band was, super tech or something. And it's just
yeah,
it
but
was like a wave.
when you're going into a small local show and there's 5 tech death bands, you kind of turn your ears off after the third
yeah,
one or something.
and
But
the thing is, what I mean by when I say we're kind of like an old school tech death is because we still like to keep a hook and a kind of I guess a straightforward almost kind of piece. It goes in different directions, but it
has structure.
It has structure, and it's not just blazing fast stuff, which we do love listening to, but we don't enjoy playing that type of stuff. We like to have something with a little bit more melody and a little bit more of a thought process. Not that these guys who play super fast don't have a thought process or anything like that, but it's just not our thought process. It's just different.
Something that might hook the fans a little bit more or something.
Yeah, I just think we have just a little bit of a different sound when it comes to the tech death side of things, because we do have technical riffs, and our riffs are difficult, but they still kind of have that old school metal vibe to them.
That Cannibal Corpse vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of technical stuff.
Yeah.
And in a way, we still create our own unique sound that can make us stand out from the other bands.
But you would definitely, if I were to show you like the songs that we do now and some of our new stuff, you would definitely see there's quite a big difference.
Sweet. Are you planning on playing any of those new songs, like at the Battle of the Bands or anything?
We have we have a song we're working on right now that we're trying to decide whether we should play it or not. You don't want to try attempting something if it's not 100% ready.
Oh yeah.
But it would be cool to play. There's a couple new songs that we have in the works that would be a game changer for us, I think, if we did play them, versus if we didn't play them, because it's kind of night and day. Honestly, the songs we're working on now versus the songs we wrote 2 years ago. So,
And I should touch on that. Those songs that we play now are technically songs we wrote when we were in high school.
yeah.
So like we're just playing them now.
Now are those songs like the ones that are on YouTube?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
those
yeah.
old, very crappy demo.
We recorded,
versions.
mixed, and mastered, and released those all in a day. Just
Wow.
like-
I was listening to those at work the other night, and they sounded like old school. I'd almost say hypocrisy.
Kind of,
like,
yeah.
Like, have you ever heard the song "The Black Forest" off of The Fourth Dimension? I got a huge vibe from
Yeah.
that. I instantly was like, "Holy fuck! I kind of want to listen to hypocrisy right now."
So that's cool.
Yeah, so you can, I guess because of that kind of guerrilla recording that we did, it gives you that sense of the old school.
Yeah, there was very old school death metal
Very
atmosphere
grimy.
to it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, our new stuff is kind of a little bit more polished, but still rough, I guess. Like it's
A
hard to
happy medium,
describe.
I would say.
Yeah, it's like a happy medium.
Yeah.
You'd have to hear it to understand it, I guess.
Oh, for sure. And you don't know what it's gonna sound like when it's done too, right? When the EP
Yeah,
is done, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Another thing to keep in mind too, when those YouTube recordings were like recorded, I was probably like maybe 6 months into like
Probably not even.
Not
Like
even
3
yeah.
4
Yeah.
months in.
of like just like learning how to play death metal drums, because it was actually these guys that introduced me to death metal. Every time I don't want to admit it, but I was hitting like a mad corn phase before I met these guys.
What's wrong with
Hey,
that?
man, what's
Like-
wrong with that? We went through that
I-
phase.
I have
get
Limp
fingers
Bizkit
for-
tattooed on my arm, dude.
We grew up in the 90s, man.
Oh, okay, well, honestly, a lot of the elitists will point their fingers and laugh, you know? Like, that's just the...
Yes!
That's the
way
way
she
That's
goes.
what I say.
I've listened to all the Korn albums in a row
Hey, there's a new one coming out
today.
too.
So, it was when I met these guys that I didn't even listen to Metallica before then either. So, like, just getting into just faster, more extreme music and just learning how to play the, you know,
Blast
thrash
beats.
beats,
Blast
blast
beats.
beats and everything. And, you know, I hate to toot my own horn, but I think I picked up, like, relatively quick in the last couple years I've been drumming with them.
quick.
So.
Those recordings don't
Right on.
do his drumming justice. He's
Yeah.
definitely-
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was pretty good for just 4 or 3 months in, you know,
Mhm.
those
Yeah.
recordings. But he's definitely fucking improved.
So we're just approaching 2 years now.
They knew from the start that I wasn't quite fast enough, but I guess they had the kind of hope that I would
We
pick
believed
up
in
pretty
you.
quick and
Yeah, losing
They-
faith in you.
losing faith. But at first, you guys believed in me. That's all that matters.
So what inspires you guys then? Like what bands, what songs, any albums in particular?
Well, for me, when I was first writing the songs, it was a lot of Black Dahlia Murder, a lot of Necrophagus. That's what I listened to a lot, and that's
In
Kind-
Flames,
In
Darkest
Flames,
Hour,
yeah.
way back, right?
yeah, like
Way back.
Way back.
We were just talking about In Flames.
Yeah,
and
we were.
It's funny that that's your way back, and then our way back is almost another
Well, for sure.
Yeah,
6
right.
years before that.
We lived
Yeah.
through the release
So
of
it's
all their
really interesting
albums.
when you have like guys your age who are
That's
really
so
younger than
funny.
us, just a complete different
Growing
take,
up, yeah.
like, just with even that one band.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
that's your reference point. Our reference point just happens to be a different point in time.
I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That would have been when we were going into high school, though, for sure. So it was like,
I was in middle school at those.
yeah,
times,
middle school, just high school. Like that was our crossover point into death metal, I think.
Mm.
Were those bands, and then after that, it was just, you know, we didn't know there was a metal scene in Kelowna. We didn't know there was shows that happened. We didn't know there was, you know, other
there
bands.
There
And
really
so
wasn't.
like, once we met Braden Farr from Apollyon and kind of all the guys from Apollyon and Arc and Fire, you know, all those other local Kelowna bands, we realized like, oh my god, like there's potential for us to actually start getting shows and stuff like this. We were like losing hope that there was no scene. Like we had no idea. So being able to actually start getting shows, and like it's a big eye opener and a big boost for a band that like you don't know if anyone's ever gonna hear your music. So
Oh yeah, totally. Like, well, we didn't even have a scene growing up. We had Uncle Ed's private jet,
Well,
Elder Star.
there was definitely a scene. It was a lot different.
Yeah, different. That's for sure.
So the type of metal, to a quotation, a lot of it was really kind
It was-
of. I kind of hate to say it, but it was more Christian.
Christian
church
rap
roots.
metal and
Yeah.
new metal.
You know, it is what it is. It's just kind of what the scene was at back then. But when Starflight played that one show, it was like 1,500 kids in a church,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy because
That was pretty intense.
there's never
Wow.
been, since those old days in like the late 90s, early 2000s, there hasn't been, shows that have been that impactful.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like
So it's been on a steady decline since,
100%.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it has been. Well, when I came back from Europe 8 years ago, I was pretty impressed to find out that there was a little bit of a metal scene, and in my opinion, it's only growing from that too. I think-
slowly but surely.
Yes, but that's how you actually develop a real scene, though.
Yeah.
You can't just have a band jump out of the gate, show off, and then disappear into obscurity, and then all of a sudden there's nothing left, right?
That's what happened, like, say, like 5 years ago, and then 10 years ago, with like Atriest, or
Yep.
like bands like that. They did the Hellraiser festivals and stuff like that. They brought in some big names, like Devin Townsend played one of those shows, like, and so like the Level's closing, the Habitat's closed. None of these big venues, they can't even support a big show anymore. Like Zool had their release show at Munins.
Mm-hmm.
After being a band for 10 years, they still released their CD at a venue that maxes out at 95 people.
Yeah.
And it's just like there was obviously a lineup around the corner from when the doors opened to when the show ended. And it's just like, man, I mean,
They could have easily had it at the Habitat, but it's closed now. It's like there's almost not anything for us to do.
Well, we're lucky to still have Moonen's Post to
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to do shows, right?
We're
We
very
wouldn't have
lucky.
anything.
Very lucky.
But then the bands that are local from Kelowna, all these bands that are touring through saying, let's play shows, let's play shows, let's play shows. You don't want to be on the same bill 4 weeks in a row. Or, you know, a bunch of bills with different bands touring through and play Units Post 5 times in 2 months. You know, it's just, there needs to be more options, I think, around here is what Kelowna needs
Yeah.
in terms of venues.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then, like, that goes with having a bigger metal scene for sure.
Oh yeah, totally. It doesn't help that we're 4 hours away from the biggest city
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yeah. But the SOEC in Penticton helps a little bit. Like if there's like Slayer, Megadeth, bands like that, like always go through there now.
Yeah.
And like half the time they'll play there instead of going to Rogers, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool. I mean, but again, that's not for the local scene.
Yeah,
So-
no.
Yeah.
They can do that for like Prospera Place, or you know.
Like Judas Priest is playing there this
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Again, not local, so
yeah.
you got to start somewhere and build slowly. So I mean,
Oh yeah, for sure. Totally. Well, should we talk about the Battle of the Bands happening here in
Sure.
Kelowna?
Yeah.
I believe that it is round 3 of Battle of the
is.
Bands for Wacken.
Yep.
And what happens to the winner?
they go to, I think it's Calgary.
I think so.
Is it not in Vancouver?
No,
Is it
okay,
in
so
Calgary?
we go to Calgary if we win this one, and then that winner goes to the finale that's in Calgary.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then from there, you go to Wacken.
Yeah, they get what, $2,000 for expenses, and then
Yeah.
they get to play at Wacken.
Yeah, which is you know, playing at Wacken is one of the biggest things you can do in a metal band, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Europe's metal scene is massive.
It is. It's huge.
So
There'll be over 100,000 people at the shows there. Oh
and
yeah.
you know that is like way on a different scale from anything that anyone around here has ever done.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
That's the big leagues for sure.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
So
Yeah. Well, the band you were talking about earlier, Battle Beast. That's how they got started.
On a
They won.
Battle Bands? Awesome.
Yeah. They won Wacken Battle of the Bands in Finland.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, good for them.
wow.
Yeah. And they played Wacken, and then now they're releasing what, their 4th album. Yeah.
Are they signed to a record label or anything?
Yeah, they are. Let's see if I can bring it up here.
I can imagine
Mm.
if they were good enough to win.
Century Media.
Maybe Century Media. Nuclear Blast.
Nuclear Blast Records.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Good for them.
Yeah,
good for them.
Yeah, they're
100%.
awesome.
So yeah, it's exciting to play the Wacken Battle, and it's the first time it's in Kelowna,
Yeah.
which is big
Oh, yeah,
for
that's
us.
very cool.
It does a lot for the metal scene for sure.
Oh, yeah,
there's
definitely.
articles from Kelowna Now and Invisible Orange is a pretty sweet entertainment company to be putting it on too. So there's a lot of good advertisement that's happening online and stuff like that for the show.
Are all the other bands participating just from the Okanagan area, or is this for BC?
So there's
There's another round in Vancouver. Round 4 is in Vancouver.
well that are you talking about just for this show? Just for this round?
Just I mean, inquiring about the Battle of the Bands in general, like how it goes and progresses into the next
yeah.
step.
Well, so
stage.
all for the show that we're playing, it's Arkenfire, Apollyon, Eden Echo, and us, and we're all from Kelowna.
Well, there's another band
And
too.
Northern Steel
Northern
is
Steel.
the other band. I think they're from Prince George.
Whoa,
Oh, okay.
making the trek down, crazy.
Yeah, they're making the trek down, which is amazing for them. That's like a 10-hour drive or something like that.
Oh,
8
yeah.
solid hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
we went to Vancouver for a show, and that was difficult enough.
Oh yeah, we should explain that story. That was,
Yeah, that was great. We the day of that we were leaving, we decided that we were taking a bus, and
Like a Greyhound.
a Greyhound.
one
Right.
e-bus.
Because
It was-
so
perfect.
Because Greyhound shut down.
Greyhound shut
Yeah.
down. They made up this really shitty thing, this interim bus route called e-bus. Yeah, and the first off, the bus was an hour late, and everything was backlined obviously at the show, so we only had heads and our instruments. And then 20 minutes into our drive, the bus just breaks down.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And so they couldn't even send a replacement bus. They sent a mechanic to come work on the bus.
Who was gonna take an hour
to fix it.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at the time like we're not even gonna make the show. And so we call up me and Dylan's roommate Tyler, who me and Taylor in a different band with, and he just a spur of the moment decision came and picked us up and drove us to Vancouver to play our gig. And we got there at load-in. We got there at 6:30.
Yeah, fucking speeding down the Coca-Cola.
It took us 3 hours.
We saw a guy pass out at the steering wheel and almost fly off into a fucking river.
Into a ditch, yeah.
He went off the ditch, but he got caught and didn't fall off. And he was just like, I fucking fell asleep as I was driving.
It's a bizarre road.
We were like, fucking Tyler's like, I bet you're awake now.
And so for future treks, we'll definitely be prepared.
We're never taking an e-bus.
Yeah.
It had 1-star rating on Google. Like, you can look it up. E-bus. It's just one singular star. Like.
Dylan here tells us, oh yeah, that's just for the organization. It's no problem. And then the bus breaks down.
It's the quality.
Oh, man.
There's a reason they have 1-star rating.
Yeah, you get what you pay
When
for.
you have no other option, you're kind of stuck with using that
Yeah.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty. But it won't happen again. We'll
No more busing.
no more bus.
Yeah. Rule number 1 of touring: no buses.
Unless you have a driver.
Then again, look at Cliff.
And a bus that works for fuck's sake.
Whoa, burn on Cliff.
Oh,
Oh,
why'd you have to bring
too
that
soon, bro.
up?
Too soon.
Still too soon. 30 years too soon. See all these memes? It should have been Kirk.
Oh man. What about the competition that develops around Battle of the Bands? How's that? Because metal is a real tight knit community where it's a culture or a lifestyle, and everybody's friends and buddies with each other. So how does that pan out?
Yeah.
Firebombing and
It just kind of
pranks,
Sabotaging.
sabotage,
Rehearsals.
I'm just gonna loosen this tube.
just clip their strings, so hide all the extra packs.
We're all really tight knit.
Yeah.
Like when we first joined the scene, like Apollyon and Arkenfire, they're both in this battle, and they totally were super nice and welcoming, and wanted to do gigs with us, and totally brought us into this scene with open arms.
And we all hung out and jammed together and stuff.
For me, I know everyone is in their own way a little competitive for sure, but for me it's not even a competition. It's just a great show with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And a great opportunity for us.
And a great opportunity for everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
If any one of the bands comes out winning,
We're
all gonna be happy for whoever it is, regardless.
Yeah.
We
sure.
all want it, but at the same time,
Happy to not have it.
we're happy to not have it.
Yeah.
It's just fun to play another show and hang out with everyone, have a few beers,
Friendly
and
competition.
hang out. It's
Absolutely, right? Yeah,
Gentleman's
for sure.
challenge.
It's not like Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Or Monopoly.
Or Monopoly.
Or Mario Kart.
We're not here to ruin friendships.
Yeah, exactly.
We just want to have a good show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Destroy them all.
Or that, yeah.
Two types of people.
Yeah. I'll do some sabotaging for you.
We can't
Leave it up to somebody
Loosen
not
up
in
the
band.
driver's side wheel.
Of their bus, right?
Of the bus.
On the bus.
I'll make sure that window doesn't close.
Oh.
Wait a minute, did you sabotage our bus? Well, no.
You weren't going to a Battle of the Bands.
Oh, shit. What else do you guys got lined up besides the Battle of the Bands? Any other gigs
goodness.
or tours coming?
Where do we start?
We have a lot of.
There's a lot of stuff that we can't say
Why?
because
Don't wanna.
because we haven't been given the go-to. One thing that we can say is that we're on Armstrong Metal Fest this year for the second year, which is very exciting. We opened up the festival. We were the first band on Saturday last year.
How was that?
It was amazing.
It was actually surprising turnout.
A good
a lot
turnout.
of people showed up for
That's good.
to be the first
Awesome.
guys to play in the morning.
How
And we had
early
mosh
is
pits,
it?
too.
Is it
Yeah.
11?
11 o'clock
11.
first.
11 in
Oh,
the
wow.
morning.
So if
A
you
bunch-
have,
After a night of drinking and people still showed up.
Wow, that's
It was
great to
almost
have
like
that.
Night of the Living Dead, though. Everyone walking in all hungover.
Well, if you win Battle of the Bands, then you know what Wacken will be like.
Yeah.
But at that point, honestly, you're in the middle of a field in like the middle of summer. You're up by 6 a.m. because of the sun.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, and then you start drinking again. You're at a festival. So it was. You know, I think a lot of people end up going to the first band. They're like, well, there's nothing else to do. I'm awake.
I'm in a farm.
And so it's like, go check out the first band. And then they end up screwing off around the second, third, fourth. You know, it's a festival. Half of it is going around and hanging out with people.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So, but just the fact that I'd say there was a good crowd. Almost 100 people showed up for our
it was
opening
like
set in the morning. Not bad at all.
A funny story about that time in Armstrong. Dumbass us forgot sunscreen. So if you look at the photos of us playing on stage, we're just all cherry red.
It's pretty good.
Me especially,
You're all
my
just super
face
hammered
was
at
just
11 in the morning.
Dehydrated, just
like we're just
sunburnt.
sweating the beer out as we're drinking.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't I getting drunk?
And now we know the rule. When you leave your tent, it's one beer and one water bottle.
Yes, 1 for 1, right?
Yeah.
Good ratio.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you know when you guys are playing at the festival this year?
So we're gonna be playing 5th on Saturday.
5th on Saturday. Oh, upgrade.
So
Promotion.
it's a little
Yeah, that's
upgrade.
good.
We
Do you
didn't
know that
want
officially?
I noticed on the poster you're not at the very bottom. You're a little bit in the middle now.
Second row.
Yeah.
Second row.
We're
Third
making our way up.
Yeah.
We definitely
Moving
didn't want
on
to
up.
start the festival off again. So
And this is a big year. They got bigger names this year as well.
super excited to see Origin headline.
Yeah, I'm stoked for
Yeah.
that.
That's pretty good. That's gonna be sick.
Super excited for a lot of the local bands that are playing. Gross Misconduct is great. Truant is fantastic. Obsidian, both from Vancouver. And then there's lots of I think it's the first year they're doing European bands.
What European bands?
Well, it's I think it's a tour of deathcore bands that's happening. One of them is Breaking the Martyrs.
Betraying the Martyrs.
Betraying the Martyrs.
Yeah.
It's not my particular style of music, but it's cool to have European bands on the bill.
Yeah, absolutely. I've listened to them a little bit. They're pretty good. I enjoy them. Yeah.
Well, you don't like the deathcore, or you don't like the European?
Definitely.
Europeans
Europeans are cool with us.
This will also be the first year of like Dylan's side band, Indecipherable Noise, premiering in the.
They should talk
Oh,
about that.
right
We haven't
on,
said
man.
anything.
Yeah, we're in another band. We're like instrumental prog, so there's no lyrics or anything. And we've been playing for a year, and we got in an AMF, and we're playing at 11 in the morning, just like Death Machine
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Two
right.
shows in the same day. Huh?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be doing 2 sets in the same day.
Good for you. That's
Yeah.
that's
Drink
awesome.
that coconut water.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated.
And sunscreen, lots of it.
Oh, I will this time, man. Holy
Fuck,
shit.
that was so bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we learned
We-
our lesson.
Yeah, we learned
Yeah.
a valuable
It was
lesson.
funny. Ian gives me he's like, here, take some sunscreen. I was like, oh.
The only sunscreen we
Just
had.
smacked it on my face. It felt awful.
Like I was dunked into a pool, like not like just dunked, but like actual wrestled into
Oh
a
my
pool
God.
of clear water, and I was
It was a
totally
kiddie
fine with
pool.
it. Yeah, just a mini kiddie pool, and it was like it was like right on concrete too. But I was so relieved to be just covered in cold, like that 35-degree weather.
But
Oh,
see,
there's no clouds
that's
on
also what got us so sunburnt, was that we kept dunking our heads in that water, so the fucking sun's just
Reflects.
reflecting
Starts
it,
boiling that water.
boiling the water off.
We'd also have like conversations with like really cool guys, but just outside in the middle, like we're not even under shade or anything like that. We're just like, you know, drinking beers and just talking, and then we're like,
That's the way of
we
a
should
festival.
probably go under somewhere else, right?
We should go inside.
Other than Armstrong, it's like, you know, we're local from Kelowna, so there's a lot of shows that we're playing at Mutants, or that we will be playing at Mutants, with lots of bands that are coming through. Again, I don't know if I can
Very cryptic.
That's alright, yeah.
say the bands.
You're
that
amongst
are coming
friends
through.
here.
No one's going to be listening to this
Don't know.
anyways.
We'll be
It might
announced
be
later.
5 months before this even gets released. So.
Yeah, well,
Dylan pulled up the schedule with all the shows. Did you just want to maybe name the dates?
we're playing a couple shows with Mutants. One of them is coming up pretty quick here at the end of March.
That's the Wacken Battle.
After the Wacken Battle.
Oh, we have one after the Wacken?
Still in March, but after Wacken?
Like
Wow,
I
okay.
said, when you play in Kelowna. There's a lot of bands reaching out that you don't want to play local shows. So Dead Asylums, we're playing with them. That show's been announced, so I can say that. Dead Asylum, Drop Dead Fred. They'll be playing their first show in about
Like Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah.
10 months or something like that, which is exciting.
Cool.
Does he still bring his huge box that he stands on?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think he is.
Cole.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
does.
Cole. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that light box. That's pretty fun.
I know
Eagle
the
box is
singer
what's called the
for
industry.
Without Mercy has a light box.
Yeah.
I didn't know Cole had one.
Oh, I don't know. I think he does.
He definitely does.
Yeah?
Mm.
I think I remember the big green light that comes up.
I'm usually really drunk by the time they're playing, so.
Get me back up
I'm
there.
usually just like, ah!
Immediately after our own set, you get just shit faced.
So yeah, it's,
Yeah.
we're gonna be playing Munins and Record City with Dead Asylum. They're gonna be doing a tour, so we're gonna hop on with a couple shows with them, as well as Paramnesia. They just released their CD,
The beginning.
The Beginning, and we did the kickoff show at Pub 340 with them, which turned out really well.
That was
Pub
really
340.
good show.
Yeah,
Nice.
almost a full sold out house for that,
Nice
which
and
was
dingy.
fun. And then we're gonna be joining them with their tour that they'll be playing. We're gonna hop on a couple shows with them for that because we had such a fun time. So that's gonna be exciting. A couple tour, I guess miniature Weekend Warrior tour type things, which is a good way to start it off.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I know a lot of bands that start touring and then they hate each other by the end of the tour.
We already hate each other, so it's
Yeah,
we're already past that.
It's a working relationship now.
Yeah, we're all just colleagues. None of us hang out afterwards.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's just a matter of getting our name out there. We want to play more shows in different cities. We want to play more shows in Vancouver because we had so much fun playing at Pub 340.
Oh, yeah. Minus all the stress getting there, it was a lot of fun.
It was definitely a good payoff, just getting there and playing a sweet show.
And the crowd received us pretty well. They
Awesome.
They really
Cool,
liked
that's
us.
Which is really hit or miss because I've been to shows there before where it's just people with crossed arms. No movement.
They always
no.
look unimpressed
they're
no matter what
only-
you do. And
There's
They're
always
only
gonna
there
be-
for the headliner type.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
always gonna be
but
metal
that
heads
show,
like that.
everyone was
Yeah, that show was
moving.
really fun. So as long as we can keep our energy up so that the fans can keep their energy up, then it'll be a real fun 2019, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good. Right on. No, I think that's the last one. Just involved in any other metal projects.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all involved.
Yeah, right. So
It's
We
like
can
a
talk about that for hours.
incestuous kind of thing going on over there.
yeah.
Yeah, we just keep crossbreeding.
that's it.
This 2 years from now at AMF, it'll just be your guys' band. one day.
I sure hope not.
6 hours in the sun.
All right, I just got off with this band. Gonna go set up with this band.
yeah, you just stay on
I just
stage.
want a beer.
But yeah,
we
no,
all got some little side stuff going on.
since we've announced Death Machine, everyone has been chomping at the bit to play with us. It seems like.
You mean creating music rather
Yeah.
than actually just sharing stage?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good to hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
So like Taylor is in. Tell him, Taylor.
Well, me and Spencer are also in the band The Unending,
Which is playing soon.
which is playing soon, March 16th.
Day before St. Patty's Day. They
Yep.
just went off a huge hiatus. I think almost like 5 years.
Wow.
They used to do really well. I remember I saw a poster where it was like The Unending headlining and Unleash the Archers co-headlining. So that was weird to see.
Wow.
So coming back from this hiatus, it's gonna be weird to see how people react.
Yeah, they've the band has ran through a lot of different lineup changes, and Tyler will admit that once he started jamming with us, that he felt like it was just right.
Tyler being
And-
the front man of The
Yeah.
Unending.
Right, so he's the original
Songwriter.
person. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
frontman,
Okay.
yeah.
I do remember that name
Yeah.
swirling around.
He's been in the scene for since it really started.
Yeah.
With the band Skullhammer, then becoming Terrifier,
Yeah.
the thrash band from Vancouver that started here. So. Yeah.
What
No.
about your other projects?
My other projects? Yeah, well, I'm in 2 other bands from that. I guess
Only 2, eh?
2
So
other
that's
ones.
total of 4?
4, yeah.
Wow.
I'm a busy drummer
Busy
slash
busy.
vocalist, so.
Very cool. Oh, what
Yeah.
are the other 2?
They're really just in the prototype stage, if I
Okay.
can call it that. We don't really have like the band names or really like song names, so we're just kind of like in the early stages of writing. So they're going really well. Like I'm actually quite impressed on how I'm doing on the drums and vocals for the different groups. So.
Particular
yeah.
style? Of music?
They're both death metal. The one I'm drumming for is like primarily death metal, but then the one I'm doing vocals for, we're really like opening the box to like different opportunities and different sound. Like we have like funk parts, jazz parts, and just really obscure parts in the genre. And I don't know. It's just we just get different musicians all
No
in
one knows
a
why we're
room.
laughing.
Everyone around me are just making really weird hand gestures with me. So sorry. We're just getting a bunch of musicians in the same room and just making music.
Cool.
We don't want to have restrictions or just limited
Limited to a genre. Or
or limiting it to one sound. And that's what's gonna make us really unique when we start playing live. And people are not gonna expect it. People may hate it because of it, because they're gonna expect a death metal show and then end up listening to like soft vocals and funk parts, and
Yeah.
they're like, think, this is fucking gay, right? Like, you know, and just leave. Like, honestly, that's your thing. If you don't like it, that's your thing, you know. But we like it, so that's all that matters.
A lot of popular bands right now are popular because they take from different genres. Like Archspire, their vocalist is like, he comes from rap. He's like a, you know, so it's like, and one of the reasons why they are so popular is because I think he's able to keep up with the instruments, which is cool. Like he's bringing something else to the table. So like if you can do something other than just saying we're a technical death metal band or we're a thrash metal band, it's exciting.
And metal used to be very elitist, where it was either you're playing straight death metal or you're playing straight black metal or whatever. And now it feels like a lot of bands are fusing a lot of it together, and it's being welcomed by a bigger crowd, and therefore making metal a more accessible and a bigger thing than it has been in the past, which is fantastic.
Yeah, very much so.
I'd have to agree with that, and I would say it's as the younger guys are coming up in the scene too, that the definition of the genres, the subgenres also are changing too.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what may have been black metal to us is a very different thing to you guys.
Well, when I think black metal, I think Mayhem and Burzum. That's
Exactly.
Which is,
Yeah.
it all depends on your
Exactly.
frame of reference, but
Right.
Exactly.
you know, as
Totally.
we continue on and just in a regular real lifetime, the genres are changing constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Yeah.
sure.
Oh
And
yeah,
there's more of
exactly. And and there's more genres, there's more subgenres. Like metal is a massive umbrella that extends
Goodness.
over absolutely anything and everything in music. Almost every style of music can be applied to metal, or metal,
absolutely.
vice versa.
It has been.
Yeah, exactly. It has been. I mean, like, look
Like-
at, if you know the band Rhapsody of Fire, Christopher Lee does a lot of vocals on there, and he, in his 80s or 90s, he even did a metal album, and he said that metal is the most versatile genre of music there is.
Yeah.
So it's it expands everywhere.
You can't even really say I just play in a metal band anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like, when I think of just metal, what is that? Iron Maiden? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Just
Same.
metal? And that could even be wrong.
That could even just be considered heavy metal.
Heavy metal?
Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Judas
Kind
Priest.
of bands of that era. Are
Yeah.
That they were heavier than rock, so you know, like you had to call them something. Metal.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What are you guys listening to now?
Yeah.
That has you excited?
What's in your playlist?
For me, it's discovering what created the metal that happens today. Like, lately I've been really on the Gorguts album, Considered Dead.
Nice.
And like really old school stuff like that. Because when I listen to that, I think, oh, this sounds like this band that I've been listening to, but really it's no. The band I've been listening to sounds like Gorguts. And
Gotcha.
just having that weird discovery factor is huge when listening to like new albums that you're listening
Seeing
to.
the similarities.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
Entombed, Dissection, like all those older school bands, like, and they like set the layout for everything else that's happened. So it's like old school stuff is it for me right now for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
I myself have been getting into more of the Black Dahlia Murder, more recently, I guess, because I don't know, the drive in this kind of the sound that we are trying to put across with the blast beats and the technicality does remind me a lot of the Black Dahlia Murder, and I've been finally able to like give it a chance, and I've fallen in love with it. And I don't know. At first, it was the vocals. Like I couldn't quite fall for the vocals. It just didn't. You guys are making fun of me.
Just
And I
didn't
don't.
do it.
I just didn't do it.
From
Thanks,
not to
Dylan.
make
The
fun
only
of
one
you.
that has my
Okay.
back in his.
I got you. I'm the good guy. Yeah.
Me and Spencer are the assholes.
No,
I would
like,
have to agree. I'm not a big fan of Black Dahlia. Their third album, I think, was their prime for me.
Nocturnal.
Or was the second album? What's the second album?
Miasma.
Miasma.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's it.
That was a
And that was my peak with them, and I just moved on to other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vocally, it's hard for me to. It just doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
I like some really weird stuff, so it's kind of surprising that I just didn't really sit well with me. But
Yeah, I personally really love his vocal style. It's something I've always tried to mimic in a way.
You hear that in Fury as well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is I really listen to a lot of the tech stuff, like in Fury and Equipoise and First Fragment, stuff like that. I'm really
They like
into the.
pronounce the words more.
right.
Pretty much, you can hear each word in the scream instead of it just being like a scream where you don't hear the word. Like,
Yeah, I
does
get
that
you.
make sense?
Yeah, instead of it just
It's
being
a bit more
a mess.
articulated.
Yeah.
Articulated growls, right? Yeah.
And so then like the scream can just be so weird sounding, which is why when you first listen to it, you're like, what is he doing? Like, I don't like that, but I definitely got into that for sure.
Yeah, when I first listened to Black Dahlia, I didn't really like it and that type of stuff, you know, like. But then I really started to love it.
Yeah. Well, for a lot of people, the vocals could be the make or break for whether they like the band or the album or not, right?
Absolutely.
So for me, it was Abysmal. I quite enjoyed that album.
Yeah, that's
There's
my
a lot
favorite
of
one.
there's a lot of really catchy and intense songs on there that I heard them right away and was like, holy fuck, this is really good.
And it was different.
And it was.
different from all the other albums that they
Because
released.
I'd always given all of their albums at least one spin to see whether it's something that I could get into. But it was when that came out that I was like, holy fuck, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
But then their newest one came out, and I'm not as big of a fan as I thought I was going to be. But yeah, that one album stood out for me.
Yeah, I'm a
I
really
like
big
Type
fan
albums.
of like the first albums too. Like they got me into Black Dahlia Murder like a good 3 years ago, but I'm still really like their first two albums a lot. But mostly people prefer like the third album or like the last album, like Nocturnal or Nightbringers, something like that.
When they really
But,
got popular was Nocturnal, Ritual,
yeah,
Deflorate.
Deflorate, yeah.
Was before Ritual.
yeah.
For me, like another reason why I wasn't so into it in the first place was just I like hearing dynamics throughout music and metal and like hearing like the high intensity and then the low parts and the groove and then going back and forth so you can like you can feel a difference in the music. Whereas like with Nocturnal, it felt like it was the same the whole album through. That like I kind of needed some differentiation. So then once I listened to Abysmal, that's when I got what I wanted. It was there and I still love it to this day.
It's a tense conversation right here. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna fight.
What are your guys' influence?
Well, I've been messing around with Revocation quite a bit lately.
Nice.
Spencer has too. Spencer really likes him, and yeah.
I
Just,
know Ash, their drummer, pretty well.
oh, really? Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. When did they get that drummer again? And what was it like? Deathless or something?
Can't remember.
I think it
They
was recent.
switched.
Yeah, he was originally from 3 Inches of Blood.
Oh yeah.
Which is really
Ash
cool.
now drums in another side project called Zimmer's Hole, which
Oh,
happens to
yeah.
be the guys from Strappy Young Lad.
Damn.
And I'm
Fuck
it
yeah.
was- I was just in Vancouver. I did sound for them at the Rickshaw Theater,
I heard about that show. Oh.
and it was awesome. Like Ash is such a
Wow.
great because he replaced Gene Hogland in the project because
Those
Gene
are
was
some shoes to
Gene
fill.
wasn't the
Yeah.
original drummer. He was the second drummer of Zimmer's Hole. But, yeah, Ash just kills it.
Wow, yeah.
He's such a friendly dude as well, just like as a sound technician. That's my background. Originally in concert promoter and musician. So I've done a whole whack load of different things, but working with him is awesome. Like, he's super talented and very technical and a super nerd when it comes to drumming. Like, it's like he wants to further himself constantly. So that I really respect about him.
Yeah, he definitely fits in that band pretty well for sure. They do some pretty crazy shit. So
yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Chandler?
Well, like I said, Inferi, Equipoise, First Fragment are my kind of big influences right now. They're my big influences for my other project that I'm in. I'm doing a little technical death metal thing with Spencer and another drummer named Jaden Wilson, and I have a EP written for that, but it's kind of on the back burner right now because Death Machine's kind of like the first priority. And my main influences for that is definitely those bands. But I think for Death Machine, influence-wise, it's always been kind of Necrophagous and
a little bit
Black Dahlia.
Death in there too.
A little bit of Death.
Always a little bit of Death in there.
Always a little bit Slayer, you know.
Yeah, it
A
depends
little bit
who's
Slayer,
writing, right? If I write the song, it's gonna sound more like single note rhythms and a lot of stuff like that. But Dylan likes to do some weird chord type stuff sometimes.
Very Revocation Mastodon.
Yeah.
I'm also like really old school too. Like I was always listening to like old Slayer and like Iron Maiden. Like I still listen to and stuff. And I brought that to you guys like a while ago. Like the old school, like even Metallica. Like old school Metallica is my shit for sure.
Old school
like,
thrash.
I love that. Yeah, old school thrash.
You can definitely hear that in Dylan's solos. Mine and Dylan's solos are really different.
You know who's playing.
Like,
yeah,
I'm very much sweeping and tapping and all that stuff, and he's got the bending and
a lot of Kirk Hammett.
pentatonic scale runs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but lately I've just kind of been like I listen to a bit of Animals as Leaders now and stuff, and I'm really getting into the prog stuff. Since I'm in my other band, Indecipherable Noise, it's more of that style. So they've been kind of like pulling me away from like just death metal, you know, like more into like the proggy stuff, trying to show me Periphery and stuff. And
I should mention a big influence is also for my guitar playing alone is Alan Holdsworth and like Ron Jarsombek and guitar player Guthrie Govan, guitar players in that type of realm, you know, where they're just kind of like beyond human. I like to be influenced by those guys.
They don't do stuff that necessarily sounds good, but it's just
But it
so
does.
technically proficient that
Well, the thing is that it does sound good. I don't know what you mean.
Sounds horrible, but it's
heard
really
a
cool.
bad sounding Guthrie Govan song or Alan Holdsworth.
it's terrible.
Yeah, but what do you guys use for gear wise? I'm such a gear nerd. I collect guitar pedals. So it's an actual addiction.
Yeah,
It's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
well,
All of the fuzz pedals, please.
This is actually an intervention.
Yeah, I don't know you guys, but I know. Your pedal collection hurts me in the following ways.
what's your name again?
Yeah.
I mean, I play an Ibanez RGA 7 right now. I'm looking at a different guitar right now. I'm probably gonna buy it pretty soon.
Stick with 7-string or go?
Oh yeah, sticking with 7-string.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of the whole 8-string and 9-string trend of things. It just seems like way too many strings for me. I like 7-string. I've played them for years, and I like my chord voicings on there and stuff. I also have a DBZ 7-string, but I kind of retired that because it's a little too heavy, and I got a lot of back pain. So for live shows, the Ibanez is a lot lighter. I also play out of this hard key, weird hard key amp. It sounds terrible on its own.
we have it jerry-rigged with a metalcore pedal to make it sound good.
If you put the metalcore pedal through the effects loop return, it sounds absolutely awesome.
Yeah, there's been tons of YouTube videos of
Yeah, I saw it from Ola.
like the boss pedals, the metal zones, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, do these pedals actually suck?
Yeah,
And
and
there's
they
a whole
don't.
backload of
They're-
troubleshoots, and it just depends on. Obviously, everyone's using it the worst way possible, so
Yeah.
it just sounds like you're using a hard key right into the power stages.
It
and
turns
using,
it into a preamp at that
Yeah.
point.
Exactly.
And like it actually it shuts off everything on the hard key, and you have to control it from the pedal level and everything.
Yeah.
So like sometimes at a show, the sound guy will come up to the amp and he's trying to turn it up and nothing's happening, and I'm like trying to point at the pedal, and he's like shaking his head at me like, no, I know what I'm doing. No, you don't.
Is the hard key solid state or tube?
Tube.
Nice.
Yeah, tube for sure. But I have no idea if using the metal core through the effects loop had really, it doesn't sound too tubey anymore when you do that. Like when you go right through it, it has a lot of that warm tube sound, and it's definitely more for like Jimi Hendrix playing. Like that's more what this amp is for. Right. But when you put it through the effects loop return, it almost sounds like it turns it into it weirdly enough turns it solid state, because it doesn't sound like a tube anymore. It doesn't have that warmth, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's a hybrid because you're using the solid stateness of the pedal running into.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so I feel like I'm using the solid state of the pedal, and it kind of bypasses the tubes a bit.
Cool.
So that's a little unfortunate, give or take.
That's what we work with. Yeah, like I've got my crate amp. Like I just bought it for $500 or whatever. It's not the best amp. It's a solid state. Spencer's shaking his head. But like yeah, so I just use that by itself. I need to get a new tube amp. That's the first thing I need to do. But I've got my 7-string Washburn that I bought that like before we started playing, and just been using that since. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about my gear so far because I just need to put more money into it and stuff. But yeah,
We're pretty simple guys.
getting there. But yeah, I got my tuner pedal.
A bunch of pedals,
That's
bro.
basically that's my
Oh,
pedal.
that's a godsend.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's
Those chromatic tuners, yeah.
yeah, like everyone can play all they want, and like I'll tune and no problems. Fucking rather than those ones that get the vibration of your guitar, like yeah. So that's been a huge help so far. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
What about you?
I use a Fender BXR dual bass 400. It's like a rack power amp. And I don't like have, what I really need to get is like a rack mount, and so I can get like all the stuff that I need for it. And then I'm running that just into a Fender cab. I think it's 2 8s and a 20 or 2 8s and a 16 or
It's
something.
two and a big one.
Yeah.
Two
Something
small
like
and a
that.
big one.
So that definitely
Yeah.
does it for bass. We don't need anything going louder than that.
Fucking
So.
shakes the whole jam.
And I
space.
play that through my 6-string Warwick Corvette Pro Series, which I love, other than the top heaviness, because as soon as you add 2 more
machine heads.
machine heads to that head, you just get that
Right.
dip. So although the thing sounds amazing and feels fantastic, playing it live while I'm singing sometimes is a challenge. So I've been on the Kiesel Custom Shop website a lot lately, looking at the headless Osiris and the headless Zeus. And although they're more expensive, like the Warwick was up there too. And like when you're getting the quality, it's all worth it. So I'm just waiting to get a nice Kiesel that will just sit perfectly in my hands and won't try and tip over.
Yeah, that the guitar I want to get it. I wanted to get a Kiesel guitar, but I saw this. I'm doing this as an impulse buy, kind of. It's this Stramberg copy that they made made in China. It's like $800 instead of $3,000. So it's headless, and it's got the same shape. It even has the same neck contours that a Stramberg does. So I'm just gonna buy it and do some mods probably to the fretwork and pickups because it's a Chinese guitar, so you gotta do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's gonna be pretty good because looking at the reviews, everyone likes it. So I'm
It's
gonna.
the beauty of the internet. It's the easy accessibility to some really inexpensive
Yeah.
or good quality stuff at a much lower.
Yeah, and the thing
price.
looks pretty sick, you know, and I'm pretty good when it comes to fixing guitars. I know how to do fret work and whatnot. So if there's anything that's kind of uncomfortable about it, I can definitely fix. So that's not a problem to me. And I really want to just, you know, if I haven't tried, it's multi-scale, headless, and it has that weird neck contour that Strandberg has. So
The fanning.
yeah, well, it has the fan frets, but you know, on the back of the neck, what Strandberg does, they like put cars into the neck for where your thumb can run along,
Cool.
and it's not just a straight curved neck. It's got
Yeah.
like joints and movement in it for people that have carpal tunnel. Because I'm starting to develop it a little bit in my fingers. Every time I finish playing guitar, my hands are in a lot of pain. And so this guitar is supposed to help people with carpal tunnel and wrist problems. So if I want to keep playing guitar, I thought maybe instead of spending $3,000, I'll spend almost $800, give it a try, see if I like headless, multi-scale, and all that. And then maybe later on in life, buy something like
Go
that.
for the more expensive one.
Yeah. And you, Taylor.
Oh God.
The drums.
The drums.
Most expensive.
We're just
Live, you have to.
The hardest
Well-
life in the band is this guy right here.
you
Tell
see,
them you have a sweet pro drum set.
for me, they're not. It's not like the most expensive because I was given 2 drum kits and I just kind of Frankenstein them together into one drum kit. And
Is that mine and Dylan's?
no, it was actually given to me by a principal and a teacher.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Remember your
Fuck, I'm outta here.
Start from the beginning.
It's all over.
Where's my age?
I want my check.
Oh yeah,
now.
no, it is. Go ahead.
Oh god, I heard all that.
Oh,
So
I take all of that back.
I take back what I just said.
So,
Apologize
yes.
to all your moms for swearing at them. Sorry.
So yeah, currently I am playing just a couple drum kits that were given to me, and they do sound pretty well. I do look forward to actually like getting my own custom drum kit, having it look just. I don't know. I still love
Window
like,
shopping, lots of
Oh
that.
yeah, a lot of it.
Probably gonna end up getting a rack setup.
Oh, you need a Rex.
Yeah.
Oh, I need a.
Especially for death metal.
Just for playing shows in general instead of being like,
Yeah.
just like, oh,
There's a lot
put
of-
it down.
You
Tedious
walk in
setting
with
up
the
with
entire
everything
thing
else.
and just
Yeah.
onto the stage.
Or you just could buy like the next MacBook Pro and just hit spacebar.
We
They end up giving me. If they end up kicking me out, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna assign that as my replacement.
Yeah, it's,
No one else can fill the shoes except for a robot. So
And we'll just put Taylor's face on the screensaver. He'll just be like,
And for shows, we'll just put a mannequin with a picture of him.
yeah.
Well, technology, the way that it's going, I'm sure you could probably Skype it in too.
they'll
Never leave the
set up
house.
with mics at home. Just
You just have one guy
You're
touring
getting
with a
fat
video
there,
screen.
Taylor.
Yeah, there was
And then you guys are actually Skyping in from your house, playing live from your house.
That would be amazing.
So the band's not actually here today, but live from their basement.
Equipoise.
Cat walks up and sleeps in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We all have cats.
If you're a metalhead, you own a cat.
It was like
Or some kind
Yeah.
of animal. A dog.
awesome.
ferret.
So what's next for you
Doesn't
guys then? After, because it sounds like your 2019's pretty busy, but
For our first 2 years, we were like, let's gig, let's get our name out there. And what we want to do in 2020 is a big tour. Hopefully.
Well, not a big tour. But
We want to tour
BC.
Canada.
tour or something.
Alberta,
We want to tour
Western
Canada.
Canada.
At least.
The
Yeah.
biggest tour.
Whole
And, like,
world tour.
and this-
Whole galaxy tour.
And this year is just kind of getting those connections and, you know, meeting the people, meeting the bands that want to do it with us. And then also, like, meeting the people who know the contacts in all the venues, you know, like setting all that up, I guess. Because, like, if you're touring, you want to set it up in such a way that you're hitting dates as you go along, and you want to know the metal promoters in those towns and stuff like that. So
Or at least have an idea who they are.
the next step is just trying to figure out, trying to start that, because you know you have to plan a tour way ahead obviously. So, but that's just early stages. That's not even early stages. That's thought process right now.
Individual.
Is we want to tour next year.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, basically right now it's just writing more music, playing the shows, hopefully getting more T-shirts, like different designs, something that you can wear to a church and not burn up in flames.
And then music, release our EP, and then get heavy on finishing writing our full length album, because there's a lot of material for it that's already written. And it's more diverse material, whereas like our EP is mainly stuff that me and Chandler were working on in high school, and this is stuff we've all written together. And that's why I think it's kind of going the more tech death route as well.
Well, it just has a different sound because it's not all just my riffs and your bass lines.
Everyone has input now, so
like everyone has an input. So it's our most collaborative work.
At this point, we're just trying to get our EP out.
Yeah, see,
for us, it's just getting it out of the way. Even though
done
with
these songs, like we kind of don't. If I'm going to be frank here, we don't really like our old songs because they're just that old and stuff like that. People enjoy them because they've never heard them before, but me and Spencer and Dylan at least have heard them for fucking 6 years.
Yeah.
Taylor not so much.
Yeah,
but he's even bored of them.
Yeah,
and
we've had to ditch a couple songs already.
Yeah, just because they're that boring. these new songs are definitely going to be a lot more fun to play, but we want to at least release these ones, so because people do enjoy them and they want to hear them.
I've always hated them.
The truth comes out.
That's too funny.
Let's go. But these new ones are definitely a lot more exciting. They have more, to us anyway. Hopefully people receive them well.
They do our sound more justice than our older songs.
We have played one new song, and that's Claustrophobic, and that one has been getting a lot of good attention. You know, every time we play it live, people come up to us and say that they really liked it.
Cool.
So
right on.
So just
improving our set list as well, because like when we got established last year, we were like, okay, we need to get enough songs to play a set, and now we can really pick and choose our songs. We have like almost like 12 to 15 songs
to choose from.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So
and other songs.
It's nice being able to refine your set list and really like, hey, I want to put this song in here and take this song out because
it'd be cool if we played this song immediately after this one.
Yeah, fitting things together, and also getting like what a lot of bands we like Inferi does. They have like stringed intros that will build up to the song, and like we're definitely into that kind of thing. Bridging songs together with all types of like string samples like that.
And we have the technology to do it, so
we can rebuild them. Make them stronger than ever.
So you guys will be adding strings and elements and
that's the plan.
Triggering tracks or something like that.
Yeah, the original songs because I wrote the songs originally when we were like in middle school, and I was in my parents' basement, and I just wanted a way to record, so I had GarageBand, and I was just writing songs, and I was able to at the time add strings and stuff to them. So all their songs originally do have orchestral pieces to them, because my background's in music and classical music in general, so I wanted to try and add that kind of element to our music, because that'd be a waste of learning all that music theory. So we haven't been able to do that because of technical difficulties, I guess. We don't have the right setups at the moment, but right now we're really trying to improve our whole live show as a whole. We are all trying to get in-ear monitoring system set up, so we have click tracks going, so we're all in time. Right now we just have Taylor with click tracks, and it's doing us fine for right now, but every now and then it can get a little confusing where we're supposed to be.
Because with that means I am counting throughout the entire song. And like when the parts when the drums cut out, I still need to keep a hi-hat pulse. Or something.
Ride something, because like I can't just be like playing and you're like, am I? Yeah.
And then I come in like bar later, or just it just doesn't make sense.
So we want us all to be able listening to one click source and have samples going out to the audience with strings and whatnot. just to improve the live show as a whole and make it just sound a little more full and fun. So at the end, we just want everyone to have a good time and not hurt each other, but throw each other around.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll spend 2019 getting this all together. So once we start touring in like the new cities, they can really see
Get
that
the full package.
Get the full experience. Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
It's going to take a bit because, you know, it costs money, but we have a band account that we put our money into, and whatever we make from shirts and stuff like that, it all goes into that. So all that stuff gets paid for by a band fund. So that makes it a little easier.
We're basically just determined to see this thing through and make it work.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're all super dedicated to this. And
To music in general.
We want this
We
to
wouldn't be
happen.
in so many other bands if we didn't want to have an outlet to create music with.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Like
No, for
sometimes
sure.
you don't have enough with just one band.
Building that foundation ensures that it lasts in the long run too. Yeah, it kind of feels like the early days of extreme metal altogether around here, where everybody knows each other and they're all
For sure.
in each other's bands and everything, trying to figure out who falls into what place.
Well,
Yeah.
look at Cannibal Corpse. What band did they keep taking members from? Was it Monstrosity? I think.
Well, Corpse Grinder's from Monstrosity.
And so was Pat O'Brien.
Was he?
Yeah.
There you go.
I like
And so
Monstrosity.
the singer from Monstrosity is like, the fuck.
You only got no band left.
Yeah, they had 2 bands that formed into Cannibal Corpse. It
Yeah,
was,
and Corpse Grinder was in a band called Corpse Grinder as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's where he got the name Corpse Grinder.
Aha.
Because everyone was like, where's that Corpse Grinder guy? You gotta watch the documentary on Cannibal Corpse. It's pretty sick.
It's a great
It's a good one. Silence.
Sweet. That it?
No.
Yeah. No, you got more questions?
Yeah, just one more. So you guys touched on it a little bit earlier about the local music scene and some of the adversity that you've been facing. What kind of ideas do you have or thoughts that you could provide that would help change that? Or what ways do you think the scene could improve?
Well, one thing for sure is that like there's a good established basis for bands to start. I think with the promoter right now, Braden, he's really welcoming. Like with Eden Echo, they're another local band that started 6 months or something ago.
Something like that.
They've played like 4 or 5 shows, and they're
They're
starting
awesome, by
they're
the
starting to get recognized. It's really cool.
Really
And so it's like starting out as a band in the metal scene is what, from our experience and from other bands' experiences we've seen in the past couple of years, it's like easy. If you are dedicated to make music, the people around here will make it happen with you. It's more getting from that point, if you want to go further, getting there.
Yeah, it's up to you for sure.
At that point, it's all up to you. It's all out of your pocket. It's all and so like starting in the metal scene in Kelowna right now, or even in Vancouver, the death metal scene is really welcoming, and honestly, like we've had like troubles, but they weren't ever because of the scene itself. You know, like they were all our fault.
Gotcha.
The bus issue and whatnot. If you're professional
forget
enough,
his guitar.
then it'll be easy to make your way through Kelowna. That's for sure. Starting out as a band, at least I think, because it was easy for us. As soon as we knew about it, it was easy.
Well, what really happened, what got us noticed in the first place, was we recorded the first song, Death Machine, that we have on our YouTube page, and Matt Depper from Apollyon shared it, and then we met them, and they wanted to play shows with us, and that's just kind
Like
of
I
how
said, it
happened.
was easy once we decided to go for it. Like
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Hey, you're a death metal band. This is cool. Let's do this. Let's play a show. You need this. You want this?
Yeah.
Send me a logo. You want a logo? I'll make a logo for you." It was just like,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness, all this stuff happening."
Yeah, like our logo was done by Braden
Yeah.
Farr, and it's fucking awesome.
Same with this
Yeah.
design right here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
like-
like,
yeah.
as well.
I can't
Yeah,
even
it's-
tell you how much everyone's helped us.
Yeah,
Sweet. And
it's-
that's what
it's
metal's all about, is helping each other out and
Absolutely.
being welcoming to everybody into the scene, right?
Yeah,
It's like a
we're-
big family, pretty much.
Yeah,
Rule
totally.
number 1 of entertainment: don't be a dick.
Exactly. and everybody has a part too, whether it's playing in the band or being a fan or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own part in it as well.
For sure, yeah, because without people coming there and listening to you, you have nothing.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
You're not number one. It's a whole team.
Yeah.
I
Sweet.
think that was my lingering question.
Do you think that metal is a phase or a lifestyle? Because lots of people join metal as a phase and then kind of dwindle out as their life changes or whatever else. And some people hold on to it for their whole life.
It depends.
It really depends on the person. Like, I've been through musical phases that I listen to, and I always end up coming back. But when I started playing metal, and when we started this thing, like, I'm going to be playing metal for the rest of my life. There's not a doubt in my mind about that. But then, like, if you're not, like, in it doing it, it's a little different. Like, I had a rap phase. I had an electronic music phase. You know, I've listened to, like, almost every type of music, like, and when I do it, I get obsessed with it. And it's, like, all you want to listen to. So, like, when I'm listening to stuff, I go through phases. But when, in terms of passion and what you want to do, I think a lot of the people that are in the bands playing the music are going to be doing it for a while.
I have the same issue too. I figure out some kind of subgenre, and then I explore the hell out of it.
All over.
I'm a big Deftones fan, of course.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
shouldn't say of course, but I'm a huge Deftones fan, and just kind of picking out where they've gone as artists and looking up, and like Wikipedia claims that that the shoegaze is one of their subgenres. I'm like, what the heck is this shoegaze stuff? And click on that, and then apparently it goes back to
4
the
hours
80s. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well now I have a list of 30 bands.
I
that
have a
need to
body of
listen
work to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, you know, metal's definitely a lifestyle because since I've been growing up, I've listened to metal in some form or another because my older brother would listen to Rob Zombie and Bullet for My Valentine, and you know, and like those aren't the hardest of metals out there, but they are
Still metal,
they're
though.
still metal, you know, like they're in the metal genre, and it was harder than, you know, Willie Nelson or something, you know, not that Willie Nelson's bad, Willie Nelson's great, but I've always listened to the harder music growing up, and eventually it just got harder and harder until I was listening to Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that, and I don't know, it's just always been in my life.
It's
And-
based on what you're subject to early.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of
Totally.
people who like music where it's upfront in your face, like it talks about subjects that are super hard
Taboo.
to touch on, and like a lot of early gangster rap and stuff. There's people that will grow up and then end up and like it just depends on how it happened. Like, I just ended up listening to metal because of the people I was with and my friends and whatnot, and they just happened to end up listening to, like, hardcore rap. And it may give you the same thing that you're craving, but just in a different way, I guess.
Do you like hardcore rap?
I like almost everything.
Have
Yeah.
you heard
We're pretty
Body
open
Count?
books to...
Yeah.
Body count.
Oh, yeah, body.
Yeah.
Body Count, Ice-T, right?
Oh man, yes. I actually just last week or the week before, just every single album, you know, from start to finish.
It was the Slayer cover that I first noticed.
Yeah, we were like...
Yeah.
I remember we were searching on YouTube, and I was like, is that Ice-T?
Is that
Ice-T.
Ice-T?
It's pretty crazy. And the band, they got their first start in the late '80s. Is when they produced their first album. The music was more punk rather than straight up metal, and just with the way the political climate's been the last 3 or 4 years, when they dropped that second most recent album in 2014 or something, it was more poignant. It was on point. Like they came out at the right time, and I just freaking love Body Count because it's the best of both.
It is.
Mhm.
They got the
It's actually pretty
hardcore
sweet.
gangster rap Ice-T, and his backing band does the rest of the metal stuff pretty damn well.
100%. And part of the reason why you like it so much is just because Ice-T's there.
Absolutely. You keep mentioning Cannibal Corpse. The original lead singer Chris Barnes,
Chris Barnes.
Yeah.
did 6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
So there was actually a song that he did with Ice-T.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's
One
amazing.
Bullet Left
Yeah.
off the Warbringer album.
I don't remember. I think so.
Oh man, if you like
It's
the
been a long
Body
time.
Count stuff, you have to listen to that because it's 6 Feet Under with Ice-T.
With Ice-T.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is
Pretty
amazing.
fucking rad. Yeah. Sweet. All right, okay. I think that's all the time we have now. So I'd like to thank Death Machine for being here to do this interview with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem, guys. We'll have you on again. And good luck at Wacken Battle of the Bands in Kelowna on March 23rd. So get your tickets now before they're sold out. Yeah, and thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, please consider supporting the bands we discussed, as well as follow Death Machine on social media and consider purchasing their music and merchandise on Bandcamp. You can follow us on Twitter at Metal as Medicine for updates on upcoming episodes, metal news, shows, and other fun stuff. You can also find us on Facebook. Come out to the shows and support the local metal scene, because without our support, we wouldn't have such great music to listen to. Thanks for listening to Metal as Medicine.